like just speaking about like being, because you and I both work 9 to 5s, but you and I are both entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's also very rare because a lot of entrepreneurs are that's they're just entrepreneurs. Like they don't work a
Yeah.
9 to 5. So I feel like I come across, and when I met you, Diana, I was like, oh my God, she's just like me. And it's tough, right? It's really hard, and you have to be like very skilled at juggling everything
Yeah.
because you never have free time for your whole free time is dedicated to one or the other.
Yeah.
And then your third thing is like yourself, right? Like taking time for yourself, which is very difficult. So I
Yeah.
feel like, being a person who works a 9 to 5, I always have to tell people that because I'm like, like we were talking about, it's going to take me a little longer to get back to you. It's going to take me a
Yeah.
little longer to do everything. So like we
Yeah.
were just talking about like how we are so far in the future because we have to be,
Yeah.
because we can't just, do things that day or the day of because we don't exist for between the hours of 9 and 5.
It's literally like having two jobs. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
spending 8 hours on my normal job and then 8 hours with my side business and even on
Yeah.
weekends too. And I think I brought it up to you when we were talking about what are we doing for like a 3-day weekend we had recently.
Hmm.
And you're like, I'm working on my stuff. And I'm like, oh God, finally I can talk to someone who can relate because my doctor, who I'm a nurse and I work in the medical field, but the doctor I work with, he always asks me, and he catches me off guard, so I'm never prepared. But he's like, "Oh, what do you have planned for this weekend?" And in my mind, I'm like, "Nothing, like just working on business stuff." But I'm not gonna tell him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep.
And in my head, I'm like, God, he probably thinks I'm such a boring person.
Meanwhile, you have like this whole empire that you've
Yeah.
run. It's so funny. I know it's always like I do the same thing because I work in corporate America, so they'll ask like on Fridays, like, oh, what are you doing, whatever, and I'll just be like, hanging around, or like I'll mention something like my daughter. Oh, I have to take her to a birthday or like something like that. But usually it's like product shoots and emails and long term planning, and like it's always something, which is awesome. But then do you ever feel like this? I always feel like, what if I could dedicate my 9 to 5 hours to my business? Like
Oh
how
my
much
God, I would
further?
love that.
But would you ever do? I feel like I would be so scared to do it though.
Really?
Like I always see the people on TikTok and they're like, "Oh, my business took off." And then I was able to like, so is
Yeah.
that the point that like, okay, I can leave my 9 to 5 because that's like security, and that's like, a constant paycheck, and like that's like you're a nurse, like that's your career.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would be so
I'm not gonna lie,
worried.
when the time comes, I probably would be afraid just because we've been so used to working,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like benefits, and we're taught at a young age, like make sure you have a good job,
Mhm.
benefits, and all
Mhm.
this. Where
Mhm.
when you're doing your own thing, it's like, it's like
Mhm. And
things
it's all on
happen.
you. It's
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But I don't know, because especially with COVID and how that happened, I feel like it makes me think differently about it because it's like anything can happen with a 9 to 5 job
It's
too.
true. It's true. I always tell people, it's so funny because that you say it, because I always tell people, because I've worked in the same industry, so I'm in like the publishing industry. I've worked in the same industry since I was like 20 years old. But I always tell people, like when they ask me, I'm one of the few people they can really talk to about like, hey, I want to leave, or hey, I want to go somewhere else. And I always tell them, like, you have to look out for yourself. The
Yeah.
company will never ever look out for you. You are just like, no matter how they make you feel or how the culture is, or like, you're just a number. You're disposable to the company. The company has a bottom line. They have money to make. If you're
Yeah.
not, if you're just like, they can get rid of you.
Yeah.
And when it happens, I feel like everyone is so like taken aback because they dedicate their life to the company, but the company doesn't dedicate their life to you. So I
Exactly.
always tell people, yeah, some people might be disappointed. You might be, putting your manager out, whatever. But like at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for you. If it's more money, if it's go, leave, and
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And when I tell people that, they're like, I'm like, give yourself permission to just leave
Yeah.
because you're right. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. You never know. And I'm always kind of like, is it going to be today? Is it going to be
Yeah.
today? And people think I'm nuts, but I'm like, you don't know. It could
Yeah.
happen. It could happen. Like you said, in 2020, it happened in droves. So I'm
Yeah.
always like, What do you want to talk to me about? Oh, do I have 5 minutes? No, I don't have 5 minutes for you. What do you want to talk to me about? Not catching me off guard, you know? So I always have to tell people, like, you have to look out for yourself. And I feel like one of those ways that you can is what we do, is like we do have these businesses that we run, you know, concurrently with our careers. But
Yeah.
I'm always like, what if?
I would say I've been practicing my speech for when I'm ready to quit my job though.
Okay, okay. I need that then. I love that though, because you're thinking, you're like, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, oh, I
I mean,
don't know.
I'm just preparing for, yeah, just I'm
Yeah.
to say that speech, but
Hmm.
I'll be scared like
You'll be scared,
afterwards,
yeah.
like, oh shoot, like, am I ready
Yeah. What
for
did I
this?
But then I think like you know, because I'm a very all or nothing person. Like
Yeah,
I'm either doing it or I'm not. Like I think I'm a very like binary thinker. It's this or
yeah,
this. It's like that's it. But there are other like there's shades of it too. You know, there's like you could go part time or you could take like a leave of absence or you could take a few months off or something like that that I've been like toying with. You know, because I'm like maybe I could you know do something or you know maybe if I did have some extra time to dedicate to MOSAIC, like where would I be? And I think about that all the time now, of like, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh my God, look how far you came in such a short amount of time," and I'm like, "Yeah," and like, where could I go? You
yeah,
know?
yeah. But you do very well balancing the two. I feel like.
It's an act.
I think we talked about this, like
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
post on social media. It
Mm-hmm.
looks easy, and
Yeah.
don't know what we do
It's
behind the
no.
scene.
It's super difficult. And it's like, but like what are some of the things that you do that helps like you stay organized? Like when you sit down, like when do you do your applauding women? And then when you do it, do you know what you're doing or is it just kind of like do you have like tasks like how like I get asked this all the time and I always feel like I never have like a sufficient answer because my stuff is so like duh like what you have a to-do list, oh my God, I'm groundbreaking. But
Uh,
like is there like some things that you do that like have made it easier for you?
I'm gonna be honest. It's a work in progress for me. Even in school, I've had a hard time like planning ahead. I've always been
Mm-hmm.
that person where I work very well under pressure, which is horrible, horrible practice. But I'm definitely getting better because yeah, I stress out too much when I do things the day of or the day before. So I'm still learning. Even you taught me a lot of things too as we've been talking, and I'm always asking you questions of like, what can I do? You know, so I'm still learning, but I would say majority of the time I'm working after work. Like I
Mm-hmm.
go work out and I come home and
You
then
work out
yes.
and then you come home, oh no, no, that's the
Girl,
first thing
that's
that
a
went.
task in itself too, though.
I know. That's the first. I was
Yeah.
like, no, not doing this. I don't have time to work out. That's awesome though. That's
Yeah.
good.
It's like, yeah, so on top of like business stuff, it's like I have to remind myself to do something outside of work
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
just self-care too. That's a work in progress in
Mm-hmm.
itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say I would go to work, work out, and then I come home and do whatever I can. Like I don't try to stress myself out in
Mm-hmm.
making a to-do list because for me, it's like if I don't finish it, I am hard on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I just have like a general idea, like, okay, I know that I can work on this task. Maybe I give myself a general timeline, like I
Mm-hmm.
can complete it maybe in like 1 or 2 weeks, or
Oh,
you know,
that's
and
good.
just work on it whenever I can.
Mm-hmm.
I would say weekends are like my highlight days of being able to just sit down and work on
Mm-hmm.
whatever I need to. Um, yeah, and then like just like social media and stuff. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, but I try to plan that you know, a month ahead or you know, plan out that. But yeah, that's still a work in progress too.
Has it gotten better though? Because I remember like we did have a conversation about like the planning by the month because I did that as well. But
Yeah.
it's like that day that you have to do it is a very daunting task. So have you like found that it's better that way, or like you said, like it's still work in progress, or maybe you like plan half a month, or like
Yeah.
how do you do
So
that?
yeah, it definitely, I notice even the content that I put out, I feel like is better because I'm putting more thought into it versus just being like, oh, let me post this real
Yeah.
quick, So I would say I'm not an expert at doing a month ahead yet because it's hard for me to think ahead so far and being like, do I want to talk about this around this time? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm more like a 2 week,
Oh,
every
that's
2 weeks
good.
type of person. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I know. I feel like I always liked it, like even though it was a daunting task, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm terrible at social media. I always thought it helped me because you get in the mode of
Yeah.
doing it, and I was always so much faster when I'd be like, oh yeah, I could do this, and then all of a sudden I have like the whole month planned.
Yeah.
Creating the content is a whole other
Yeah.
thing, but like at least planning it. And social media is it's such a big driver and a big deal no matter how you look at it. Like when you even look at your analytics, your metrics, your data, it's like how many of your customers are coming from social media?
Yeah.
Probably all of them.
Yeah.
So it's like that you have to keep feeding that machine because that's where your customers are coming from,
Yeah.
It's
How,
crazy.
how's your balancing been or what?
It's I'm very type A, so I'm a very scheduled person. Like my husband, he now makes fun of me because I have like alarms for everything. Because I'm like, Daniel, if I don't have alarm, it's not getting done. So it'll be like, drop my daughter off, pick my daughter up, whatever. So he's like, your phone's always going off. I'm like, it's telling me to do stuff. Leave me alone. But like for MOSAIC and everything, I work my 9 to 5, and then I cook dinner, clean the kitchen. Like me and my husband do it both, give Sloan a bath, and I'm able to really sit down on a good day like around 7.
Hmm.
And from like 7 until 8:30 when it's her bedtime, and like read the stories and all that, it's like that's when I get it done. But it's sometimes a struggle because that's when she sees us, and that's when we're all in the living room, and mommy's on her, she calls it my MOSAIC computer. So she's
Oh.
very aware of like what I do and why I do it, and that it's I have two distinct different jobs, and one is my own, and I do my own thing. So every now and then, like when she's like, oh, can we do this? I'll be like, yep, I close my computer and then I do that. But that
Yeah.
just means like that thing I didn't get done, I'm gonna have to find another time for. So it's always like you, I don't do like the to-do list. I kind of put like here's like the two things I want to try and get done today. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't happen, then I have to just remain flexible. Whereas like my first year in business, it was so much
Yeah.
and I had no idea what I was doing, that it would just everything would come at me at the last minute, and it would like drive me crazy because I'm the opposite of you. I'm not a last minute. I will just like, no, I can't. I will break down. Like you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
can do it. I'm like, nope, no, Brittany's no longer here. Like, can't do it. So I'm the opposite, but now I feel like it's like I've gotten into a rhythm where I know what's coming, and I know like, okay, the summer is right around the corner. Like I need to start prepping fairs and festivals and see what's out there, and all of that. So it's definitely difficult, but I always tell people it's doable. You can
Yeah.
do it. Like, you know,
Zoom interrupting our conversation.
okay. Okay.
But yeah, I like the idea of the setting up an alarm. I think I need that.
Yeah, I love my alarms because it also like reminds me like to do like just like random things. Like one I actually do, and it's also good for my daughter because she'll hear the alarm go off. Like I have one to warm up the car in the winter, and then like 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, it's like, all right, we have to drop you off at school. And
Yeah.
she's like me. She hears the alarm, she's like drops everything, cleans everything up, puts her coat on. So it's good for that way. And then it's also good for like when I'm at work, I have to go and pick her up. So I'll be in a call, and then my alarm will go off, and it's a great way to be like, oh, sorry, I have to like go pick her up, like I'll be whatever, and then like I'll
Yeah.
go pick her up. But it's really good for me to like, I have one for 8 p.m. post to TikTok because I can't schedule those, so it's like post to
Uh-huh.
TikTok. I used to have one like to check if my Instagram post went live. Like it's
Yeah.
true, my phone is always like dinging. Now that I think about it, because ever since I said it, I'm like, no, paranoid about it. Because they'll be like, there it goes again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's telling me to do something. Leave me alone.
Is it one of those soothing
Yeah.
voices, or is it one of those yeah?
It's that one. It's that one. It's like a bell ringing, I think. So but I like them. They help. Like I don't have a good memory, so I will forget like anything if I didn't have my alarm. So it's pretty good. I don't have like many for MOSAIC because like we were talking about, I really don't try and be like, you have to do this. Like some days if I have a headache or I just don't feel well, like I'm not gonna get anything done. Like I have to just lie on the couch. So that's one of my resolutions this year, is just to like allow myself to like not do anything. Like
yeah.
because last year I ran myself into the ground. Like I was just,
Yeah.
and I would beat myself up because I'd be like, what do you like, go do, you could be doing something. But that's from like, I always call it like immigrant mentality, because my dad would be like, go do something. What are you doing? Sit on the couch and not do anything? Go read a book. Go do something. Go do something. Go do something. Go do something. And I'd be like, I just hear him all the time now. It's like, I am doing something. I'm relaxing.
Yeah.
You know?
You need that to charge. But
I didn't realize how much I did like need to just like sit and relax. Because then after that, I'm like, all right, I can go do something now. Now I feel, you know.
Yeah.
So
I definitely can relate. Even with like going to meet with people, that's a challenge in itself too. So it's like when friends are like, oh, let's go do this, in my mind it's like, oh, but I have to do this and this, like but I had to like start telling myself like, you deserve to enjoy time to do stuff outside of business too.
It's true. It's true. And I'm like you, it's like those things I find, I'm like, oh, to me it's like, it sounds bad, but it's like another thing I have to do. It's like, okay, whereas for some reason, like I know your sister travels like a ton. For me, like if I can be like, all right, I'm going away in April or whatever. To me that works better in my mind, because I can plan it, it's a whole thing, and I can actually relax. Then, because everything is done. I don't worry about anything. But it's like, oh yeah, like we want to go to the movies or whatever. I'm like, you know, it's just
like,
those little things
that wasn't in my schedule.
I don't think so. How does 2025 work? Does that work for you?
I can watch the previews with you.
And then I gotta go. My alarm is gonna go off in the middle of the movie telling me to leave. But for some reason I always think like I'm better that way, just because I'm like, I prepare for it and I'm like, oh no, I earned this, you know. It's weird though, but yeah, I find that scheduling those bigger things works better for me than like the smaller things, just because you're right. It's like, well, I was gonna do this and this. You know, and I'm like,
same.
I gotta do it. Yeah. Because then I feel like then it puts you behind. But you're not really behind because you're in your own head about it.
We're just hard on ourselves. Even budget wise too. That's
what budget?
And well, that's
my budget is crazy. I'm always like, yeah, sure, I can afford that. I cannot. I don't know who told you that, Brittany. What bank account are you looking at? I don't know.
I'm like, man, like even with my sister traveling and stuff, I'm like, like I have to put this towards my business. Like all my money goes towards the business.
All of it. All of it.
And then I'm like, what do I have?
Nothing. I was having the same conversation because they were like, so I was telling somebody I wanted a specific bag, a Pauline bag. You ever heard of Pauline? Like they're all over Instagram or whatever. I wanted a Pauline bag so bad for my birthday. And they're like, you know, you could just get one for yourself. I'm like, no, I can't. That's not my money. It's MOSAIC. I can't. I really can't, actually. And they were laughing, but I'm like, no, it's true. Like, my job affords me to run my business, you know, because I don't know about you, but it's like I'm not, what do you call it? Profitable yet. They always say, are you profitable? Nope. And that's fine. Like, I feel like so many businesses are not profitable. It takes a long time for it to be profitable. And even then, like, I always feel like they're always kind of like teetering in the middle, just because like you see the small businesses, they're like, oh, well, now we have our own space and now we have this and now we have that. I'm like, that's all cost. You know, then but then again, it takes money to make money. So but I always struggle with, like, where do you find that line? Where's over investment? Like, okay, now I gotta chill.
That's true.
I get it, you know?
It's kind of, yeah. Because it's like everything, every action that you do, it costs money. It
It costs money.
does. And it's
Mhm.
like, I feel like every time I get a paycheck, I'm just like, okay, what can I put this towards in
Mhm.
my business? Oh,
Mhm.
I have this monthly bill. Like,
Mhm. Uh-huh.
always
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's so many costs with a business that you don't like. It's not a product. I feel like everyone's always like the product. I'm like, no, all the back end systems, everything that makes you go faster, it's
Yeah.
money, you
Yeah.
know? Every single thing. And
Mm,
unfortunately, like for me, I have to have a lot of like systems. One, because that's kind of my background, but two, it's like I just honestly I don't have the bandwidth. Like I can't do any of so like even to run your Etsy or Shopify, like those are fees, those are
yeah.
monthly, everything that like actually makes you an actual true business costs money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the monthly cost alone is. But
Yeah.
again, I feel like it is still I'm talking people out of starting their own
I
business. So
know.
I'm like, we're gonna bring it
Listen
back.
to us.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it back. I still do think it's very doable because you could get your costs down very low.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're a handmade business, you pay for the materials and then, if you do your calculations right, your retail cost should be, we were just talking about this, it should be through the roof because
Yeah.
if it's your time and energy, like, a lot of the handmade ceramics,
Hmm.
that the uptick in price is huge. Like your profit is very good.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you do dedicate, like if you don't have a 9 to 5 and it's just your business, you don't need all those back end systems to like help you post or help you do that because you can do that yourself. So that's a lot
Yeah.
of savings right there. For
Yeah.
me, unfortunately, like it's not gonna happen. I need those. I need all of them. Give me every one of those like
Yeah.
automated things because
Yeah. So you
otherwise it
don't
ain't
have to think
happening.
about it. Just take it.
Just take it and go. Take it and go. But I feel like one of the best decisions I made for my business last year was I
Mhm.
hired a social media manager,
Yeah. How's that
Amber.
going?
She's insanely talented. Like this is
Yeah.
what she wants to do for a living. She's the best thing that ever happened to Mosaic because
Hmm.
she just has great ideas. She's just so like she's incredible. And
Yeah.
it's crazy to think like what she's gonna do like when she gets out of she just started college, like when she gets out
Yeah.
of college, like unstoppable. And
Yeah.
it's so cool to like, see her like flourish and grow and, do her own thing because she can take the things that she does for Mosaic and be like, I did all of this because she does
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
But it's awesome because she's very well worth the investment, worth the money, and we're like partners. She'll ask
Yeah.
me about these things and I'll tell her and then I'll ask her, and she just like elevates me because that's what they
Mhm.
say about like business owners. You want to hire people who are smarter than you, people who like, push you and like, I don't know anything about that. I'm terrible. And she
Yeah.
knows so much about it. And there's so much more that goes into it than it's just like posting,
Yeah.
and like planning and strategy. And I'm like, I got nothing for you. I got
Yeah.
nothing. Do you want to buy this pin?
Yeah.
That's that's all I got in my social. Do you
Yeah.
want to buy this? But so she's like added a whole other like layer of depth and everything. And I feel like that was a very, and she's from our community. She is mixed and,
Yeah. Which is dope because I feel like
it's so cool.
you're including someone who's just starting off and then she's a
Mhm.
woman of color. So
Mhm.
you're representing your brand
Mhm.
still
Mhm.
in that
Mhm.
direction.
It's yeah, it's like one of the best things I did. So